How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to my F2 2020 Championship, here for round 4 at the Monaco Grand Prix. Not really too sure how I felt going into this one, not one of my favourite tracks on the calendar, but going into qualifying, I'll leave you to look at the lap. Come up to the final turn, go on to the straight to finish the lap. It was a pretty poor lap up until the third sector and made up a lot of time through the swimming pool chicane section. As we crossed the line, Robert Schwartzman takes pole, we finished down in P8, so not too bad, not too good. Luca Giotto comes home in second place, with Artem Markelov claiming third position on the grid, followed by Alesi, Drugovic, Lundgaard and my UNI Virtuosi teammate Guan Yu Zhou, with Piquet and Samaya round out the top 10 behind me. As we go to the 5 red lights for the feature race, starting on the super soft tyres compared to everyone else on the softs. Get a pretty decent start, don't lose any positions initially into turn 1, making sure not to make any contact with our teammate ahead or any of the other drivers around us. Side by side with Piquet on the run up through Boravage towards Massenet. Have the inside for turn 3 and managed to stay ahead of Piquet. Through Casino Square, then staying close to our teammate on the run down to this first hairpin. Decide to stay in behind, can't really make a move there, it's a bit risky. Same into the lowest hairpin, or whatever you want to name the hairpin, Fairmont. It's nearly like a car park going into there, everyone's so slow. But so far on the first lap we managed to hold position in P8, so not too bad, not too good. But skipping ahead onto the end of lap 3 onto lap 4, our teammate ahead of us is quickest man on track, setting a new fastest lap of the race. And then on the very next lap he does the exact same thing, so even on the harder tyre the drivers ahead of us are starting to pull away. But unfortunately for Joe, on to lap 5, around the hairpin, you can see ahead of us smoke coming out of his car, and he has, after having an engine failure, as he pulls off to the side there and just escape road at Portier. That's him out of the race. But that brings out the safety car, and me being on the softer tyre, this gives the opportunity to pit and put on the soft tyre, which will hopefully get me to the end of the race. And with nobody else being able to pit out or make it to the end, I'll catch up to the back of the queue under the safety car and effectively be in the lead of the race once the drivers ahead have to make their pit stop under green conditions. And then on to the end of lap 7, the safety car is coming in, getting very close to the high-tech ahead of us, trying to get a good start. Unfortunately can't get a good run on any of the drivers ahead of us, and on the restart we remain in P21 out of 21. Towards lap 9 now, on the run into the first hairpin, we slide up the inside, drifting around the corner and make a pass on the high-tech that was ahead of us up into P20. On to lap 10 then, around to back we have a big moment, getting very sideways with the dirty air of Galea. And on to lap 11 then, through Portier, we're carrying so much more speed than the driver ahead, practically pushing him through the turn. Going through the tunnel then, we're very close to the dams ahead and thinking about having a move down the inside into the Nouvelle chicane. We go for it, but on this occasion Galea holds the inside, go very wide, almost hitting the wall on the inside of the exit and remain in P20 for the moment. But the very next lap, again trying to get a good run through Port here, and on this occasion we're even closer to the dam, so going to try and make the same move again, and this time hopefully it will stick. So down into Northwell Chicane, down the inside, more committed this time, and we managed to get to the apex and get up into P19, and hopefully we can catch the cars ahead, so when they pit we will be further ahead than we would be if we were staying behind Galale. Last clip saw set the new fastest lap of the race as on to the end of lap 14, starting lap 15, the first of the soft runners pit upon the super soft, then the very next lap the rest of those drivers pit, and we find ourselves in first place with Giotto almost 7 seconds behind. So now it's just a case of trying to find good laps and stay ahead of the high-tech driver. End of lap 16 on to 17, we set a new fastest lap, which is quickly beaten by Giotto behind by over a second. So that sort of shows the pace that the super soft runners have compared to me on the old softs. Nothing really happened in this clip, I just thought it was interesting that I set the exact same first sector split as the lap before. On to lap 19, going through the back, we turn in too early and hit the inside barrier, and that pushing me to the outside, and we get damage on both end plates. So with just 3 laps left, we're nursing major wing damage, and because of that and now a mistake in Raskas, Giotto is only 1.5 seconds behind us, so now we're going to be under severe pressure for the rest of this race to try and keep first position. On to the end of lap 20 now as we head towards the final lap of the race. Going into Raskas, we get hit from behind by Giotto, a bit of a bump and run as he tries to sneak his way up the inside, then into the final turn. I wasn't having any of that, and I turn in and Giotto doesn't back out, and we make contact with the high-tech driver. That pushes us into the outside barrier of the final turn, getting even more wing damage, which allows Schwartzman and Markelov to also get past us onto the final lap of the race. If you look at a replay here, you can see Giotto just tapping us in the back, which sends us wide, and then here, this I can admit that was probably my fault. I shouldn't have just turned in, but I really didn't want Giotto to pretty much just bump us out of the way and get past, just because he was quicker at this stage because of my damage. And well, it's kind of 50-50 actually, that collision, because he could have backed out, I could have backed out. But on to the last straight then, towards the end of the race, Giotto does manage to take the win, but us, after pretty much throwing away a first place, we finish down in 4th.
Take care of the car on the way in.
Adrenaline dies down after another eventful race. Here come our top 3 out onto the podium.
So again, Giotto takes the honours in the feature race, with Schwartzman taking, I think it's his first podium of the season, with Artem Markelov rounding out the podium. Drugovich finishes behind me in 5th, followed by Alesi, Lundgaard, Schumacher getting reverse pole, with Piquet and Samaya, the 2 Brazilians, rounding out the points. As we go to start the sprint race, starting from 5th position. 5 lights are on, and when they go out we get a pretty good start, get a bit more wheel spin than in the feature race, but once again we manage to hold position into turn 1. Markelov tries around the outside of Santabov, but nothing doing there, and we stay in 5th and up into Massenet, staying close to Drugovich, maybe trying to get a good run through Casino, maybe have a move into the hairpin, but nothing happens here. The Brazilian ahead of us locks up, but yeah, that's not the most exciting thing that happened at this start. Once again around the Fairmont hairpins like a car park. But on to the end of lap 1 now. Drugovich going very slowly through Raskas, but manages to get a good exit onto the pitch straight, so can't make anything work there. Up into Massenet then on lap 2, we for some reason get a massive snap of oversteer going over a bump, practically drifting through the turn through turn 3 is on to lap 4 then. The high tech of Mazepin retires for, I think it's the 3rd race this season, so Very unlucky for the Russian, which I don't really care about. End of lap 6 on to lap 7 then. I say a new fastest lap of the race as we're still stuck up behind Drugovic. So we tapped the wall there on the run up the hill. Somehow, very luckily, don't get any damage from that. Well, on to lap 8. Towards the end of lap 8, Galea retires once again, so he's also having some very bad reliability. But you might have seen there that Schumacher and Ilott actually pit under the safety car, and as you can see here on the race director, Schumacher drops down to P11 and Ilott drops down to 14th. So I really don't understand the strategy, the Prema team especially going for the Ferrari strategy. But lap 10 the safety car comes in, we're now sitting in third position, and on the restart Lundgaard gets away well, as does Drugovic, so no position changes on this occasion. The last turn here in Monaco is hard to keep close under a safety car restart and try and make a move. Beyond the end of lap 11 now, and Lundgaard and Drugovic also pit, so this makes even less sense to me than Schumacher and Ilott pitting, because if you're going to pit in the sprint race, one, I don't understand why you would, especially around Monaco where you can't overtake, and two, why would you do it the lap after a safety car comes in? On to lap 12 then, through swim push chicane, I get the line run through to back, and that upsets the line through the swim push chicane. Get very loose and have to cut the corner in the second part of the chicane, so I slow down not to have gained any time. That lets the BWT Race Lab driver of Markelov and our nearest championship rival to inherit the lead of the race. And from that little incident we also get light wing damage, so once again for the last few laps of the race we're going to be nursing some damage as we're trying to hold on to the best position we can. On to lap 13 now, again through the swim pool chicane. We understeer wide into the barrier and the exit and get even more damage, so really not making this any easier for ourselves as we head on to the second last lap of the race. Up through Massenet, we go very wide, and that allows Giotto to try and go down the inside around the outside casino, but I wasn't having any of that after what happened in the feature race, so very aggressively squeezing to the outside, and we managed to retain our P2 as we head around the final corner for the final time, heading up to the line. Markelov wins the race and we come home for a very good recovery in P2.
Down to the podium, there's no denying the strength of the Arden team. Arden aren't afraid to take risks on new talent, and it certainly looks like it paid off today. Fantastic work.
So Markelov takes the victory ahead of myself in second, with Giotto rounding out the podium for a very good result this weekend. Ruvna finishes fourth ahead of Marcus Armstrong, Ryan Asani, Louis Delatraz, with Yuki Tsunoda finishing in the points for I think it's the first time this season, and Schumacher only manages to go up to P9 after his pit stop. As I said, Giotto, very good weekend this weekend with Markelov behind him and myself in third, and with this our championship lead does shrink down to 24 points, but crucially we remain in the lead, and as the team we remain in first position with UNI Virtuosi with Race Lab in second. But thanks for watching, until the next one at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, see you then.